Welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln, where we take a look around the Lincoln, Nebraska area and introduce you to business owners and influential people in the city. We are brought to you by Perch Merch. Perch Merch is a locally owned, custom screen printing and embroidery apparel shop that also specializes in vehicle wraps, decals, and all sorts of promotional products. If your business, school, or team is looking to expand your brand, head to perch-merch.com or call us at 402-217-5212.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln. I am your host, Chris Beecham, joined by my co-host, Henry Schmidt.
What's up, Chris?
And producer, Joe Cruz.
Hello, everyone.
Before we introduce our guests, we just would like everyone to follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And you can also find us at TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Brand Lincoln Podcast. So today in the Perch Merch studio, we have Stanford Binko Bradley.
Yep.
Binko. So is that a middle name?
Man, I have spent my entire life trying to solve that, and nobody knows.
Let me ask you this.
Is that the game they play on Price is Right?
No, Blinko.
That's Blinko.
Blinko.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Got it.
It's
Sorry.
close.
And it's also not the farm.
The farm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not even gonna try.
I used to get that one growing up all the time. The farm. B-I-N-G. Yeah, not the same.
Oh, the farmer.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, no, nobody knows. My mom and dad don't know. It just
Is it
as long
on
as
your birth certificate?
it is not.
Okay. So it's a nickname.
It's for sure.
We just don't know who came up with it, where it came from.
Binko.
Because my
That's the
parents were
best kind
young.
of nickname,
My parents
though,
were
right there.
super young, so they were teenagers. So it's like how I envision it now. I've come to peace with understanding that they were teenagers, and sometimes you give your friends those nicknames, and they just stick around. And that's just what happened. It just stuck around, and here I
did
am,
you-
26 years later.
like a binky?
I didn't even have one.
Joe,
of those.
don't try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We
said
don't
the
know.
same
I'm
thing.
here
They're
to
like,
help.
nope, you didn't have a binky. I'm like, okay, well,
I'll get to the bottom of
there's
this.
there's nothing.
There's no way
nothing
to
it.
get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
There is no bottom.
Well, okay. I might have a theory.
Good Lord.
we can cut
Give me some.
this.
I call my son Bebo once in a while.
Okay.
Because when my daughter was young, when he was born, she was having a hard time saying Theo, and it came out as Bebo. So I'm just wondering if maybe someone else was trying to call you something different.
From Stanford to
From
Binko.
Stanford Bradley to Binko.
They have a lot of the same letters, Joe.
It's a theory. I'm just
We're getting way off track. So
I
let's.
haven't been able to figure it out.
Okay.
So what Chris was going to ask was,
Yeah. All right. So you're involved in a lot of things
Yeah.
here
yeah.
in Lincoln. So let's just start. Just go. Tell us about you.
I've been at the Malone Community Center 11 years. I'm now the associate director of teen programming there, where I'm able to do a lot of good stuff, a lot of good partnership stuff. I work at Hope Spoke also in their extended day treatment program, and then I sit on a bunch of committees and coalitions surrounding juvenile justice and things like that.
Oh, very cool.
And then I got a basketball program.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
he's helping the community, Chris.
He is. I don't know which direction to go
Yeah,
at the moment.
there's a lot. There's a lot.
Well, Malone. I'm very familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get involved in all these
I'm
things?
not. I'm
Like-
sorry. I am not.
Sorry, I thought
familiar with
everybody
it.
was. Okay, the Malone Center.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we're African American Historical Community Center here in Lincoln. We're actually the building's been torn down. They did the groundbreaking earlier today, but they're in the process of building a new building there. And we have tons of programs from athletics, after school programs, CLCs, maternity health and wellness, mental health stuff, breastfeeding, just a bunch of different stuff.
where's this at in Lincoln?
Off of 20th and Vine is where the new building will be. So kind of by the Memorial Stadium. There's the spray park's kind of right there, across from Whittier.
That like what's that Parkway Park right along there?
Antelope Park.
Yeah.
Creek, Yep.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I pass that every day on the way to work. So
Yep. So right
yeah,
there where
I
it
know
meets
where
at Vine.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So how did you get involved in that? Is that your the first thing you were involved in out of all these things?
Yeah, it was my first actual work experience. Crazy story. So I was in detention center for amount of time, and I got out on house arrest, and they're like, the only thing you could do is go to school and go to work. And I was like, well, I don't have a job, so I need to get a job because I don't want to just be at home. And I found this program that was for people that were involved in like the court system, adopted, foster care, and they basically got them like a work site internship type of thing. And I signed up, I met with them, and they placed me at the Malone. And that went from me doing it at 15 years old to then I got hired on at 18 and been going ever since.
Got it. So you definitely have a backstory.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. I didn't just work that. Yeah, it's crazy backstory.
Did you grow up in Lincoln?
Yep, I'm from Lincoln.
Okay. So you got in some trouble.
Yeah, a lot. I got in a lot of trouble, but it wasn't up until I finally. It was a gun violence situation where they were actually able to detain me, and then that turned in. I was facing adult charges, and that turned into, I didn't like jail. I'd done a lot of crazy stuff, probation, fines, but they never were able to detain me. But when they detained me, I went to jail. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. This is
It
not,
wasn't fun.
No, this ain't somewhere I could be comfortable at. So that kind of put me in a position where I was like, you know what, I'll try to Malone, and then I just kept going every day after school, and that turned into.
So you were working at Malone, but it sounds like you were working on yourself too.
Yeah, and that was almost the biggest blessing from it, is that I was able to kind of sit down and look at myself and be like, hey, you can't go to this place where these kids are every day and make an impact on them and then turn around. And this was at the time when Journal Star was posting mugshots every day, so you can't you can't be doing this, and then next thing you know, you got your mugshot on Journal Star and the kids are kind of trying to figure out which one you actually were. So you gotta find one, and that's the direction you gotta go. And it paid more than jail, so
yeah, well, good for you. Yeah, way to figure that one out.
Yeah, and it wasn't a hard choice. Like, and at the time I went to jail, Twitter was like a big thing, and I was like going viral all the time, millions of retweets, and so like in my head, I'm up here social media, and I wish it was this type of generation where you get paid from it, but. I went to jail in the middle of it, so there was like times in jail where I'd like think of something and like try to reach and grab my phone, and I'm like, oh yeah. You might, you might not be seeing that ever again. How this is looking, and so it was a lot that didn't work for me in jail. So working at the Malone and doing that really gave me the platform and opportunity to kind of be like, hey, who do you want to be, and that's who you got to start showing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then what else is there besides the Malone? What do you do at the Malone then?
So at the Malone Center, I'm associate director of teen programming, and with that, I'm able to kind of build partnerships and relationships. So we have a partnership with the city where I work with youth in the community and then law enforcement, try to kind of bridge that gap and build those relationships. And so with that, they kind of gave me. I started it from the ground up, so there was kind of no model I was able to follow. So every idea that I'm able to do, I'm able to just, hey, this is what I want to do, and partner with the police to do it. And so with that, we've done a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of fun stuff, and that is one of the big things because that keeps me involved in conversations that I feel like are really big in my community.
Yeah, tell me some of this crazy ideas then, because
So one of the biggest things that kids like that we do every year is an annual basketball game where the Malone kids are able to play against the police officers.
Oh, fun.
And it's called Unity in the Community. Fun. And they love it.
They eat that up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And the police do too.
Trash talking
the kids
and taunting.
Oh yeah. Me and the former chief and current chief, when we're in the meetings, it's like, hey, I'm letting you know that we're coming out. I got some people that's looking to dunk on you guys. Like, we're putting y'all on the Instagram highlight reels. Like, they're coming to make a joke of you guys.
Yeah, not top 10 for them.
Yeah, no,
break some ankles.
Yeah, they're trying to make Sports Center top 10.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, and so that and as they were searching for the former police chief, we were kind of able to have meetings with the mayor where the kids were able to sit down and kind of be like, hey, this is what I look for in a police chief from kind of their perspective. And that those kids are now, which is crazy, they're graduating, that we're able to sit down and do that. But they're like, hey, I got to sit down with the mayor and have these conversations, and she listened to me and she understood, what I thought. And, and so those type of things are the biggest, when the kids are able to kind of be impacted by things you don't see on the everyday.
That is really neat.
And then you said you have a basketball.
Yep, I started my own basketball program.
Okay, tell us what's that consist of? So
the name of the program is Future Elite. We started with a group of kids. I coached this 5th grade, and we kind of just kept going, and we were in a couple different programs, and I was like, I got ideas and resources that were different than the programs I was at the time, and so I was like, I can start my own thing and mold it into what I want to be and give the kids the experience I think they should have all around basketball, because there's kids that play basketball that aren't looking to go to the NBA. They're not looking to play college basketball, but their friends play it. I'm with my friends. I want to do it. And those kids should be able to have fun experience, even though they might not be the best, but they want to participate in it. And so we kind of, I built a program that kind of is more than just what's on the court.
So is it like, do you put on tournaments or
we play in tournaments?
Okay,
Yep,
so it's like almost like a club team.
Yeah,
like a travel ball.
Yep, travel
Okay.
ball. So currently we have 3 8th grade teams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And each team, I know there's 5 players on the court, but
Nice, Joe.
Nice, Joe.
how deep is the bench? I'm just curious on how many kids you have in the whole program.
Man, we have 3 teams. There's about 40-ish kids. Some kids have kind of fell off since tryouts, but I want to say the number of kids we had on team was 40. So it's
Okay.
about 10 a team, and then the lower team might have 12.
Okay.
So somewhere in there, yep. Yeah, but it's
How far do you guys go?
like travel?
Yeah.
Well, with me having my own program and the people I serve, finance is a big thing. So it depends on, the amount of money and where I'm able to take them to. So we've went to Denver a couple times, and then we played in nationals in Wichita.
That's sweet.
Yep, but this year, because we started as one team, and then we kind of have turned into this 3. And so this year we kind of, before they get to 8th grade, we want to, what I'm working on is more relationships with colleges, so that way we can kind of get on campuses and start doing some tours and then use those to kind of find a tournament in that area to kind of go to the college and then play in a tournament.
Like you said, not just what's on the court.
Yep, because I want to see these kids be able to go and actually go to college, and not just because they play sports, but because they have molded a life that helps them be successful.
Mm-hmm.
We do grade checks every week. I want to know what your grades are like. I'm going to check, and you're not going to play if your grades are bad, and I want them to actually go to college and be like, hey, because I did good in school, I can go to college for free that way. Academics,
If they play basketball, great, but you want them to go to school.
Right. And basketball is just another way to get to school for free. But if you get your grades up and you do what you do in the classroom, that you'll get paid to go to school, and I want them to kind of keep that in their mind and have that approach. It's like, hey, this is just as important as my basketball skill. And I don't want them to be good at basketball but not able to play because grades weren't important before they got to high school. Yep.
This is amazing. Like, you're really changing lives with these youth here. That's awesome.
You got to be intentional, because if you're not, it won't make sense. But when you're intentionally telling them, like, hey, I'm going to check your grades every week, because when you get to high school and you got 2 Fs, they're not going to play you. And there's no call your parent can make. The rules are going to be the rules, and they're not going to change. So if we start, that now, and you take basketball as serious as you do now, okay, you'll sit this weekend, which now it's 3-4 games in a weekend. So if your grades aren't good, you're missing out on 4 games.
Well, yeah.
So the stakes are a little higher versus when you're in high school and it's 1 or 2 games. You're missing out on a whole tournament. And
with
so,
your buddies in Denver,
right?
Yeah,
and there has been those situations where we were able to take the team to Denver and go to an NBA game, but some kids didn't have their grades up, and so they missed that first round going to Denver. But then second time
they're
it comes
not
around,
miss it the second
they're
one.
ready. They're like, okay, you can check my grades right now.
I'm going to a Nuggets game,
right? I'm going. And so being able to have those type of incentives where we're going to go here, but we're also going to have this opportunity and this experience when we go is important to me. Yep.
Sure.
Okay, what else do we have besides Malone and basketball?
He said something about hope.
Hope Spoke, yep. So they have a extended day treatment program, which is kind of like a behavioral center that does like therapy and stuff with kids that are from the ages of 5 to 12. Yep.
Okay, you've got to explain more than that.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Is this
It's so
where's
familiar
this,
with me,
where's this at?
It's the purple building on 25th and O, across from that Burger King that shut down. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Right
the
on
purple,
those
the
big,
purple
big,
building.
big
Yeah,
purple
I know
building.
exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, when you say the purple building, they're like, oh, that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm able to help out in that program, and it's big to be kind of, especially for me. Like I said, I grew up with young parents, so there was a different experience that naturally just came with life, with not having things, and that growing up and now seeing younger kids grow up and being able to see them get that therapeutic service is big. Seeing them being able to have those conversations, because I didn't start therapy until I was probably 18, 19 years old. And these kids are going through a lot. The world's a lot. Social media is a lot. So being able to see kids meet with therapists and kind of get them involved in that kind of process has been something fun I've been able to do.
So is that a nonprofit then?
Yep. It's a
Okay.
nonprofit, and they do a lot of stuff. They have like a group home. I know they do some services in the detention center, therapy and detention center, but they do a lot of therapeutic services.
Well, it sounds like you're keeping yourself busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you do a lot of fundraising stuff too then? I mean, are you involved in that, or what does that look like for all these things? Because none of this is cheap.
It's not. And if so, with that, there's the working for the organization is one thing. So I kind of got to make sure I compartmentalize all my work, because then otherwise it can get kind of, messy. And so I don't fundraise for anybody else except for my nonprofit, which is my basketball program.
Okay.
Yep. I feel like, if I'm going to have these opportunities and these connections, that it should go to where I believe I can do exactly what the impact I want to do.
Where you're
with
in
it.
control of
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
So what's your big fundraiser for that? Or what are you doing to fundraise, I guess? Or what are we doing? Let's go.
No, that's a good question. I'm kind of in the process right now where we're doing a registration for the basketball season. But like I said, we went from 1 team to 3. So I'm kind of seeing what money comes in and then kind of how many fundraisers are, who I need to reach out to and what I need to do. But I'm building some ideas. I want to do I want to do a car wash before it gets kind of too cold, and I want to do a pancake feed and kind of those type of things. But
I'd show up for a pancake feed for sure.
yeah, and I went to IHOP today, and I'm sitting in IHOP like, wow, I really need to get the ball rolling on that, because these are good. But yeah, so I'm gonna start putting out some ideas here once I see how much money we need to kind of get through the season.
We could do some shirts. We do a lot of that, where make a shirt where the profit goes to the
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Get up some cool designs
We could
and stuff
definitely do
people
that.
like. Yeah, we're involved.
Yeah,
I already
we could
like this stuff.
Yeah,
so.
we can definitely talk about that. I would love to, because the kids I do serve are kids that don't have this opportunity unless I would do it. So they've tried other programs, they didn't make it. There's a certain level of investment that me and my assistant and my brother also coaches with me, that we feel like we have to do. We have to check your grades. We have to kind of know what's going on at home, because that also matters how you're performing on the court. And with me being involved in therapeutic stuff, it kind of helps me be able to work with those kids differently in basketball, because I'm like, hey, if I take you home and I know your lights aren't turned on, come to practice, I know why you're a little bit on edge, And then something I missed out with the Malone is I do education advocacy. And so with that, I'm able to kind of go to the school and kind of be like, hey, this is what the home-like situation looks like. And when he comes in first period and that teacher's mad that whatever the situation is, this is where he's coming from. And so with a lot of the kids I work with, I'm able to kind of be that liaison between the school, the court, probation, of like, hey, this is probably a better way we can work on it.
How many kids do you say you work with for that sort of thing?
For the advocacy stuff? So for education, I'm sitting at 32 kids.
Okay.
So I'm working on a way to kind of make that easy, so I don't have to reach out to the school or the parent every time for the grades. I just want to be able to kind of get a system where they can be emailed to me, and I can kind of do it that way. But the kids are, I've been big on putting accountability on them to make sure they're sending me the grades on Fridays. So then that way I kind of know over the weekend what I can look at and come Monday and figure out what I need to do. But yeah, about 32 kids on that.
I got another question, maybe back you up a little bit. What's your education history? Because you sound incredibly smart, and that
Very
exactly
well-spoken, yeah.
how you're handling these situations and all these different balls in the air. Did you learn it on the way? Like how?
Yeah, a lot of it I've learned as I've been going. So I've been in the field, luckily, 11 years, and I've been at so many different positions that I've been able to kind of gather information. And one thing I've always been big about is I ask a lot of questions, because I just want to. There's something in me that wants to know why. And so at the Malone, we've went through a couple different executive directors, and throughout the whole process, I've been able to have conversations, be like, hey, why does this function this way? And so all those kind of little things and having those relationships have kind of prepared me for more opportunities when they come, and kind of knowing how to maneuver throughout nonprofits.
Wow. So really just
experience.
Full experience, right?
Yeah, full
because
life
you said
experience.
you got the job in high
Life
school.
experience, yeah.
And
That's the thing. You have the real life experience for
Right,
all. You know what
right.
these kids are going through.
And that's something that has benefited me. And so I've had, even though I've been at the Malone this 11 years, with being the work I've been able to do, I've been able to work other places with the scheduling. And so, like, I was at Cedars, and, these kids it's alternative to detention. So these are kids that are in this place because they're not in detention. And if they weren't here, it is detention. And so when I worked there, I was able to kind of relate to the kids, and the kids, when it's authentic, they really listen.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
They listen, because they're like, yeah, you know what you're talking about. And with the hardest of the kids that have come, and I get crazy calls from people like, hey, there's this kid, and the toughest of the kids, I'm able to sit down and be like, hey, I know what you're talking about. I know why you feel like you got to do that, but there's another way out. There's more that you can't see. And so me being authentically me and able to kind of tell them like, hey, I've been there and this is where I'm at now, kind of helps the kids see like, you know, further than just across the street. You know, they're able to see down the street like, hey, this was a guy that went to jail for guns when he was 15 years old, but now here he is at 26 and this is where he's sitting at and this is what he can do, you know. And so that has helped me a lot, really, having the life experience. And still, like, as I've been to like Washington a couple times. This is probably gonna come up next, but I'm probably jumping ahead of your next question. But with me being on the Coalition for Juvenile Justice for Nebraska, I've been able to kind of travel and go speak at different conferences and stuff like that. And that's speaking to the last one I went to, I was sitting in a room with people that have been judges for 20 years. You know, and I'm showing them right. Yeah. So I'm sitting here like, you know, and sometimes I read like the sheet before I present, and I'm kind of like, what can I be saying to these people that aren't new? But, you know, when you have that real life experience, they're able to ask questions that they might not be able to ask somebody that learned it in the textbook. You know, they're able to kind of pick my brain and be a good resource. And so I've had judges send, you know, people from their diversion to call and be like, hey, and this just happened where I recently got a call and they're like, hey, we want you to help build our diversion program so that way we know what we're actually supposed to be doing. You know, and so just crazy opportunities from things like that. So for me, speaking at the conference, now I'm getting calls on helping you kind of build a diversion service in a whole different place I've never been in that could long-term impact kids. And so just opportunities from just really being authentic and really just kind of doing the work I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, because weren't you also with like doing something with Pete Ricketts or something?
No, but he did appoint me to the Juvenile Justice Coalition.
Okay,
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. But no. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing directly, but under his administration. The work's under him, but not directly with them.
Got it. Okay, so
Unless he wants to donate.
Yeah.
So if he wants to make a donation, there's something we could there's a lot
we could work
do.
something out.
We could definitely figure something out.
for people that do want to donate, how would you donate?
You could go to our website, which is Future Elite B-Ball futureeliteball.org. So Future Elite and then B-Ball.
Okay. Where do you hold practices at and stuff?
I got to shout out Cross the Line Church over by Northeast.
Okay.
They have given me free practice space at the end of their days, and so we're working off three teams, one gym right now. And you know they let us use their space, and so they have been a real fundamental piece of how we're able to kind of pull this off. And so without them letting us use their space, it's hard out here for gym space.
Yeah, dude, renting courts are
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, and it's expensive, you know.
Yeah.
And so when you're working with limited resources, you know, people being able to open their doors and say, hey, at this time of night, nobody's here, you can use the gym.
That's awesome.
Them doing that has been really big.
It is great, yeah, because anything in these club sports these days are just
Oh, yeah.
the whole thing is
and there's
crazy.
groups that
And
have
there's a reason people
monopolized
are-
it
yes.
and have made
Yep.
it, and they make it hard unless you get down with them. But you know, there's a group of kids that are slipping through the cracks because those programs don't do the
Yeah, you got
wraparound
40
service
kids
you need.
that
Right.
don't make that mold, right?
You know, they don't fit, and they need, and you know, bigger programs have sat me down and been like, hey, you know, we want you to be a part, but when we sit down, we got to have real conversations of what are we actually trying to do, because I believe I'm one of the best youth coaches, and the numbers might support that, but when we sit
No
down,
brag there.
I bet he's a
Yeah,
big stats guy. I bet
you good at
looks
basketball,
stats all
though?
night.
I could have been, but
Got it.
I was focused on different things during basketball time, and so
yeah, same.
Once you go to jail, it's kind of like I'm facing adult prison. So I kind of my last 2 years, I was like, yeah, I gotta actually focus on making money and kind of beating
And
this
not
case.
going to jail.
Not beating this case. So that kind of made me not as interested later on, and then I kind of matured faster than my teammates because of that situation. So I was like ready to graduate, and I was working at the Malone, so I knew I wasn't going to play college. So I was like, we could wrap this up now. But I did play all 4 years at Northeast. So we went to state my last year. Got bounced first round, I think. But I forgot what we were talking about before that.
You got gym space.
Oh yeah,
You don't
got
li-
gym
you don't-
space.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I did.
My bad. These organizations.
Oh, the organization. Yeah, and when we
numbers
sit down,
might not make sense.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense because when we sit down and we have those conversations, I'm like, okay, what does your program do? And you can just tell me, oh, we coach and we go home. Well,
That's not you.
these kids need more than that. They need somebody that is always going to be there. They don't need somebody that is going to be here 1 year and then the next year you're handed off to somebody else. And now this person might not. And it's usually dads coaching where, I'm a dad too. So I understand some dads are like, hey, I don't have time to kind of invest into being somebody you need right now because I got all these other things, and these kids need somebody that's going to show up in school when they're struggling. If their situation happens with their family, somebody that can be, actually there and be like, hey, I can actually help you through this. And a lot of these programs just you coach and you go home. The kids don't hang out with each other outside of practices, outside of the games. And I was like, I don't want to be that type of program. I want these kids to know they can count on me and the people coaching them to show up whenever they need us to show up.
More of a family environment.
Which is good, bad,
awesome.
and ugly.
Yeah.
We're going to show up. And if something happens to you, we're going to all support you. And recently we had a kid's house burnt down when we we showed up at Nationals. I got a call right when we got there. His house burned down. And so then, here's this, and, he's a really talented player, but here he is going to play in a national tournament knowing that when we leave here, he has nothing. Yeah. Whatever he brought with him is all he has.
Oh.
Yeah, and so, it's and then the way our team came together and supported him through that was crazy. A lot of the parents helped, get him new clothes, and, having a program where people know each other and care about each other helps in those situations. And then it was like 2 weeks after that, we had a kid from our team pass away. And so then that was a whole nother situation of, supporting the family and everything that comes with, losing a 13-year-old is crazy. And so being a program and having the people in our program that are willing to step up and help if something like that happens. And so
it's a real community.
Yeah, we have a really good group of kids and a really good group of families around us.
So you obviously have had some bad shit moments. That's yeah. Because you seem like it's almost like a high risk but high reward.
Yeah.
So talk about some of like the most rewarding things that you've seen, or your like what I would say your good shit moments. Like, damn, I did that. I helped this kid. He's now becoming a doctor, or somebody overcame.
Man, so
everything.
What we've been doing at 11 years, kids are graduating. Yeah. So now I'm seeing kids
you're seeing adults. They're adults,
right?
now.
And I'm only 26, so it's like they're having kids and they're graduating college, and it's crazy just to see the outcome of it. And somebody from the city told me that there's only been one kid that I've ever documented working with that has ever been reoffended or been back into the detention center. And so now now we're working on, I want to see exactly what the data is, because I don't think about that. When you think of 1,000 kids in 10 years and only one kid has ever re-entered the system, that's big.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
And so now they told me that like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, hey, can we break that down? Because now who was the kid?
Yeah.
Let me talk to him. Why is it not 100%? And that was my first question, was like, well, who was the kid? Because something slipped by me that I didn't know. But those are the rewarding moments, is when people say, hey, like there's a dad recently, it's graduation, this last graduation time hit me hard, because there was kids that I have worked with for years that I've literally I'm pushing them across the finish line, like, hey, we're almost there, and there was this dad that texted me. He got out kind of. I was working with this kid probably 3 or 4 years. He got out the last 2 of the kids' high school years, and so he gets out and he's like, hey, you're not my kid's dad. And I told him, like, hey, that's never been what I set out to be.
I could see how that
I've never
could
set
happen.
out to be that. I just care about the success of this kid, and I have the resources that can help him. I can show up, and I've been this person. And so, kind of the dad, he didn't like it. He was, it made him uncomfortable to see somebody else helping his kid. And
his kid's probably always trying to contact you,
right? And so, with the outcome of the dad texted me, it was like, hey, thank you. Like, if you didn't help my kid would not be graduating. And he was like, and when I first met you, I didn't kind of understand why you were doing it, but like, I couldn't have did it without you. And I've learned so much from you, and the relationship I have with my kid is a lot better because you've showed me kind of how to care about my kid. And, that was kind of like eye opener of like, I could have been like, you know what, I don't want to argue with this dad, I'm done. But I was like, hey, I'll have a conversation with you. We could talk about these things and we could figure them out together. So then I was able to kind of show that dad who didn't have a dad on how to have these conversations with the school.
Oh, wow.
On how, he didn't know how to have them. He didn't have a dad. So he's looking at me like, something's going on. Like, why do you care about my kid? I'm like, hey, no, this is 1, my job. And 2, I actually care about what I do. So I take it serious. And, having those meetings where he's able to come into meetings and not feel like these people have knowledge that he doesn't have. So now he's frustrating these conversations.
Yeah.
I'm able to have these conversations and he can give his feedback and we can prep before we go into these, IEP meetings and things like that, where he can know kind of what they're looking at and what things actually mean. And so it's
Once he has an understanding.
Right. Because you don't know. A lot of these parents don't know kind of what the system, what the rules are in court. They don't know. They just know like, hey, we don't like going here. But when your kid's in these situations, you kind of need to know what the outcome could be. You need to know what your resources are. You need to know this is what probation is supposed to be doing to help your kid. And if they're not, then you need to have these type of conversations. So I've been able to work with some people on that. But that dad saying that was like, I was like, it's crazy. Like, I was like, I don't, put it in that type of perspective. But for him to say it, I was like, wow, that's huge.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah, I read it. I was like, whoa. Because it was kind of after I went to the graduation party, he sent that. And I was kind of like, this must have been something like, if you're going to send that text to me after we first, because I've only been knowing you 2 years. In the first half of it, you didn't understand, you didn't like me. But the second half, you've seen that it's working. And you see the other kids I'm involved in. And that family has also been like, hey, I know this kid that he might need your help. And so that's kind of another way that I've been able to continue growing. His parents are like, hey, this worked for me. I know this person that might need it. And so they're kind of able to, I'm able to network and meet more people that are able to kind of open up more doors and kind of, I'm able to learn from them. Yep.
What else you guys got?
All right, well, we kind of like to end our segments here with one last question. This is Brand Lincoln.
Yeah.
So what are the fun things you like to do in our great city of Lincoln, recreationally, or, restaurants you like to venture to?
IHOP.
Yeah, IHOP. Shout out to my daughter. First time I went to IHOP, and since she was because she was born, I was like, we'll try IHOP. She likes pancakes. But I do like Momo's over off of Pioneers, Momo's Pizzeria. But other than that, I work a lot, and my schedule's crazy, so I spend a lot of free time with my daughter. And then coaching basketball is something I take really serious.
Yeah.
Yep.
How old's your daughter?
She just turned 2 today, so today's her birthday.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
So are there any companies that you work kind of hand in hand with that are helpful to you in your, like, do you have any shout outs to, like who?
Durst Motors.
Okay.
That family they do a lot to support us. And so if nationals come and, because how the basketball program is it has to get paid regardless. And so when it's said and done, it comes out of my pocket, or I got to figure out where to get the money from. And Durst has been somebody that's always been like, hey, make sure you call us if you need something. We don't want you taking it on alone. And so anytime I reach out and I'm like, hey, we need $400 more, so that way we're able to go to nationals, he'll say, go pick the check up from the car lot. And that's just that. And so they have been tremendous. They sponsor my small fry team that plays at the Salvation Army. And they anytime I need anything, they're always down to help.
So you got a small fry team too.
Yeah.
You didn't say that on the list.
well, I forgot. Yeah, I caught small fry. And I started doing that in high school. So that's something like I was junior year in high school. I started coaching small fry, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've got a question. We've kind of got a good idea of what your personality's like here at this table. What's your coaching personality like? What do you like on the court?
Oh man, we're serious. I don't put my players take it serious,
Coach
and
Carter.
I take it serious. Yeah.
Coach Carter.
Yeah.
We
kind of we get down.
It's like a Lincoln Coach Carter right here.
Oh, I take it serious. I take it so serious because one, it costs a lot, and
it's not free.
If I'm paying, we gonna show up. My players, they understand. I don't get paid to coach. I don't have to come here 2 hours a night and coach you guys. I do not have to. I'm already busy. I could be doing this time to read because I got a presentation of something that I didn't go to college for that I could be reading, and I'm honest with them.
Yeah.
Like I have to teach people that went to school and I did not. So I have to be twice as good. I'm taking this 2 hours to coach you. You're going to take 2 hours and you're going to be serious when we walk through these doors, and we're going to get down to business. And that's how we rock. And so the results have reflected that I'm not getting paid in this series.
So what was your record last year?
Man, don't even get me started. I'm still mad about it.
Okay.
We went undefeated.
What was your record up until that one time?
Small fry. I've been doing small fry like 10, 11 years. I won a girl. I started with girls, which was crazy. My first championship was a girls championship, and then I went to, because they didn't have a coach. My dad was the director, and he was like, "Hey, you got to coach this team." And I was like, "All right, I guess I'm coaching this team."
Yeah, okay.
And so I did 1 year as a girls, and I've done boys since. I think I'm like 8 championships in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know if anybody else has won more than me. I guess they could check that record, but
I don't
Yeah,
think so. We checked it before you got
See,
here.
look,
So,
boom,
yeah.
fact check.
Joe was looking it up.
We didn't find out
was-
till the
Joe
end. I
was looking
coached
it up.
small fry, but you were prepared with the record.
I'm like that. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would people? Okay, we got the basketball thing. That's your big fundraiser thing.
He coaches small fry.
Yeah, but I'm talking
Is
about
that the
Malone
where do
Community
people
Center?
find you then with all this stuff? I mean, where do you want people to find you?
I'm not hard to find.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm like Coach Parr said. I'm not hard to find. You know, I'm like I said, I'm in the schools.
We got a Dion quote.
You know, and I'm in the schools. I'm in the courts. I'm in the gym where where the tournaments happen. I'm there. So like community events, I'm a part of them. So it's. If we don't see each other, then and that's why I tell a lot of the older people that do the same similar work. If we're not bumping into each other, where are you doing the work at?
yeah.
Because I'm everywhere. If we're not crossing paths, where are you doing your work at? Because we're missing the mark.
Because you're there.
Because I'm there.
Yeah.
I know I'm there. They know I'm
And I
there.
didn't see you there.
And I didn't see you there. So something's not adding up.
No, that totally makes
something don't
sense.
add
Yeah.
up. Because they know I'm there. You know I'm there. Why don't I know you there?
All right.
You heard him.
Got it.
And
Well, that's
I-
a good.
go
That's a
find him.
good ending note right there.
And I say it too. So some people are kind of like, oh, he's gonna no. But if we're all getting paid to do this work, we got to actually do this work. And there's a lot of organizations, there's a lot of people in position that are kind of skating by with the resources other people need to actually take it to the next level. A lot of these guys got the resources I need, and they're not doing nothing with them. But maintain and take care of their family, showing up, getting their check. But it's like, hey, if that's all you want to do, you can do that anywhere. Let the ones that are serious about this get that opportunity so we can really take it further. Because there's a lot our city needs, and we're kind of being held up by people that have been doing it a long time in the same positions, doing the same stuff. It has changed so much. And these people are just, they're in the way.
Well, I have no doubt that you are a positive influence on this city. So
Oh, yeah, I try.
you were
try.
great to talk
Yeah,
to.
incredible story.
That was
Awesome,
that
dude.
was good. Yeah.
It's fun.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Stanford Binko.
Yep, I still don't
I'm
know
just going to
where
go with Binko. I like
Yeah,
Binko.
some people just, yeah. So it really just depends on where you meet me at. Because some people, like I said, we're at basketball and they'll hear somebody call me Stanford. They'll be like,
Who the heck is that?
Who are you talking to?
he must thought you were
Binko.
you must thought you were your dad. I'm like, no, my name's Stanford, where he met me at. Like,
Yeah.
so it just depends. Yep.
So, all right. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on.
Oh yeah, I
Thank you
appreciate you
very
guys
much,
having
Binko.
me.
Thank you,
dude.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Thanks, everybody.